All right, today we are working on a Windows agent performing a SQL backup, and this particular backup has worked in the past without issue. I did a manual run of this particular job, and I ended up with only these messages in here. Job will be forced to fail and failed to complete. Very generic error message that doesn't really give me much to go on, right? Well, not even SQL gives us much information to go on for this. So we're going to find out exactly why we got this message and how to resolve it. So in review, I've logged into my portal interface here under computers and selected my SQL server. And when I did the backup under the select action dropdown and then run job, I wanted to get a transaction only log backup for this particular job. I already did a full earlier in the day. I just want the transaction, maybe multiple times throughout the day. And then if I need to, I can roll those back as needed. And that's how we ended up with the error log that we got here. Well, let's take a look directly on that SQL server for a little bit more information about where this problem comes from. So on my server here, I'm going to open up the SQL Server Management Studio. And my particular instance here is able to be logged in with Windows authentication, but you do have the option for SQL Server authentication if you have the SA password. Now the logs for this, I'm going to expand it out. Management, SQL Server logs, and then looking at my current log here, I'll open this up. And the latest backup, we had an attempt to load a library into memory, and then that same DLL, it not much information to go on here. And this may not be specific to every instance of this particular message. And these don't even show up as a particular problem. They're basically just informational, saying, hey, no user action is required for this stuff. So unfortunately, we're not able to get the error message back from SQL into the Evault Carbonite Server Backup or OpenText Server Backup logging because SQL has not provided that to us. We have to do a little bit more digging, and which is why we have the information such as this video, so you can find out exactly what's happening here. I'm going to open up my databases on the left and select my vault. I'm going to open up the properties, and then under the options item here, we have the recovery mode of simple. And so this is actually a Microsoft limitation where SQL will not let you do a transaction log backup of a simple database. Your options for being able to move forward with a transaction-only backup would be to change it to full, and that will allow the transaction backup to go through, or you can just simply change the backup in portal. Instead of transaction log, you could do a full with transaction log, and that gives you the point-in-time backup with all of the transactions from that point back to the previous full backup if you needed to get all of those transaction logs. So if you do have a large database and you're looking to get just the transaction logs throughout the day, you're going to want to set that to full. Again, that's a Microsoft limitation, and some of the error messages that we don't get back from Microsoft SQL are not able to be processed because they just aren't provided to us for the logging. But now you know why that message could come up, and you can check to see if you did a transaction log backup on a simple database. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and we'll see you in another video. See ya.